Hello, this is London Silver, and we're going to be doing What If Deku Was in Little Nightmares. So, this is part 3. Yeah, this is part 3. And let's continue the story. I know very little of you actually, watch, but for those who do, thank you. You really mean a lot to me. Now, let's continue. I jump to the ground and look around to see lockers and even one on the floor. Mono and Six also then jumped down and walked to the locker on the ground. Then a light in front of us showed a shadow, and I think a woman in the painting. And her neck stretches, and Six stops, and I stop with her, and Mono also stops. We stopped and saw as the shadow disappeared, going into what I think was a door that doesn't lead to the hall we are in. We continue to walk forward and go over the locker on the floor. I see a bucket hanging from the ceiling, but just being still in place. And we went around it and not touching it. We then went into a doorway which led into a hallway similar, but then I stepped onto a loose board where a bucket flew at me. But then I get pulled by Mono and Six out the way, and I say thanks, and they say no problem. And they smile. We then go under the light hanging thing and crouch to get through it, and a wall of lockers blocked our way when I see light coming from the side, and I see an opening. It leads to a doorway to another hall, just like the others, but more lit up. Then Mono steps on a loose board, and two objects that would have injured or killed him flew by and scared the hell out of us. We then continued forward and see something scurry on the hall to see on the left, but we went into this room, and then something fell on our heads and hear something close and see a vent that I think was open before, but now it's closed. We couldn't open it, so we went to the hall, and then a locker dropped down and went to the opening that was covered by the few lockers. We then dropped down and walked down on edge. We walked down to see a dead end when I heard something coming for us, and I immediately pushed Mono and Six down, and then hear a light crash into the dead end, but it could be used to make it to the other side. I then jump on it and make my way to the other side, and the others follow me. We then walk into another hall and hear giggles, and we keep going and see Mono and see two hammers. And we try to get it up. But then the locker then is pushed down onto me and Mono, and porcelain kids keep us down and take Six away, and we both yell, "Six!" I try to reach my hand out, but they drag her away, and I push on the locker, and me and Mono push it off. Mono yells while I can tell he's tearing up. How are we going to get her back? They went out that side, and we can't go there. I say, we're not going to abandon her, but we need to go forward and try to find her, okay? He nods, and I take his hand, and we go on the locker and see a porcelain child, and he goes for one of the hammers and smashes them. I say, "Good job." I then jump down from the locker and grab one of the other hammers and follow Mono to the other room in hand, but Mono is dragging his. I'm somewhat holding mine. Sorry. What? I do apologize. There's something on my screen. Okay, let's continue. We walk into a room with a chair and tables that were roped together and broken. Mono tries to go for the one drawing on the floor, but then he steps on a trap, and I pull him down on his back, and I crouch as I hear the bucket fly by me and crash into the porcelain child and dying. We try to bring our hammers, but our strength is enough to get them with us to the other side. We walk through the hall. It's quiet and only small whispers here and there, but far away. We then see a classroom of porcelain children and see them scared or on edge. I then saw the woman who seems to have a teacher, what a teacher would wear, and the porcelain children seemed terrified when she slapped the desk with the ruler and freaking them out. I grabbed Mono's hand, and we carefully go behind one of the desks of the children. And I see her turning around, and I stop, and Mono stops. And then she looks at the tables like she's inspecting for someone or something. She then turns away, which gives us enough time to go to the back room to look around a bit and try to find 6. I see a key on the bookshelf, and I instruct Mono to go inside a box, and I would get it down, but she would probably come in, so he needs to stay in there for now. He agreed, and he stayed in the box, while I go on the bookshelf and came down, making a big crash and sounds. I then ran into the box with Mono and waited. She came in, then what made me and Mono shake. Her neck stretched as if it was a snake's. She looked around the room, but then left and closed the door, with a thud following it. I then ran out and grabbed the key and gave it to Mono, since he had a key holder in his coat, so it could be useful. Mono then pointed out the opening or even vent that leads to what I suspect the other side of the room. I go in first and open the door and see it's the door to the cabinet on the other side. And we are right next to the woman, but then she slams the ruler on the desk of one of the porcelain children, and a little grin of payback formed on my face, but it quickly went away when she started moving around the classroom as if looking for something, or, again, someone. I took Mono's hand and quietly went under the desk and hid as she went around the classroom. We tried to avoid her gaze, but then she caught us. I took his hand and we bolted out the room, and I grabbed the key, and go into the elevator and closes. I take a breath and sigh in relief, and ease washes over me till the elevator stops. We set out of the elevator and go to the left to see a porcelain child tied by the neck with a cone over its head, and then turns and runs at us, but it's stopped by the rope and falls to the ground. I then run behind it and grab the hammer and breaks its head in. I then see an old wooden door, and I break it, and see a small room. Then I see a vent, and call Mono. Mono, I found a vent. He then ran over and helped me into the vent, and we both got in. But I was in the back, and he was in the front, as we went to a different room, or so I think. He jumps down, and I jump down with him, but then he knocks over a glass bottle. We were on a platform of wood, looking like it was built over a room, maybe close to the ceiling, or made for an escape of some kind. I then see the silhouette of the teacher. I then take his hand and run on the plank to a box and covered his mouth and pull him into a bear hug so he can't see. And then I see her neck stretch and the skin being pulled, and I see her face. It was wrinkly and looked like it fit a witch, but then she goes down. But I wait a bit longer before she pokes her head out again, and I think, finally, it's done. I let him go and whisper, follow my lead, okay? He nods in agreement, and I take his hand, and we walk across the planks and grab onto a rope of cloth, and he follows to the other level above us, similar to the one before, made of wood, and then see a plank that is faced up and not connected to a different platform. I push it down and I hear a screech and run across the plank into the vent. I push him in and we make it halfway, I think, and catch my breath before continuing, and we reach a library. And then on the other side of the bookshelf, and I just stop before she walks away. I then sigh and push the ladder to the end and got up. And we both jumped down, but then 2 books fell, and I grabbed Momono's hand and started running as I saw her head burst out the bookshelf trying to eat us whole. I keep running, and we went inside the bookshelf, and we got to the other side of a sort of book tower made of books and boxes. Can't really describe it much, but I jump on and Mono follows, and then we go to the other. But some books fall, and I drag Mono to the other side on the bottom. I see her head looking around, and I push him to the other side at the top. She then takes her head back to her body and walks through a door, and closes it. We both jump down, and I say, "Sorry for dragging you like that." He then says, "No, it's fine. You saved my life." I smile and try to reach to the door handle, but it's too high. But then Mono says, "I could lift you up." I then nodded, and he lifted me up, and I grabbed the handle and opened it. We walked through a hall which led into a large room that had stairs and led to either way, and we go up and looked around. Mono then finds and opens a room and calls me over, and we see a child strapped into a chess piece, and he looks dead, not like the porcelain children. He was on a chessboard. I stood there before Mono snapped me out of it and said we have to do some sort of puzzle to find a way out. And we look around, and I find a drawing on the wall, and the king of black pieces, and the white king of the white pieces. The white queen and the white rook surrounded it, and it's checkmate. Just like in the game. I tell Mono of where we need to put the pieces, and we hear a click, and notice the light is now on. I go and jump on the table and pull the light book, and then the bookshelf opens and reveals of a picture of a dog taking a dookie. Mono looked like he was containing his laughter, and I just giggled a bit before we go inside the room and look around and find a key on the chair. It seems small and cramped, but we stay for a while, giggling and laughing before we go back down the stairs. We then opened the door, and that was locked, and we opened it to see a stained and dirty room that looks to be maybe marble. We keep going and hear noises like children screaming or something. We then move the rack thing, and we reach for the vent that leads to, and this is the end. Also, this is from what I gathered from, basically watching Rambo's stream of playing Little Nightmares 2. So if it's not from your experience, it's probably from Rambo's stream. So yeah. If I miss anything like Easter eggs or something, it's probably because it didn't happen in Rambo's stream. So this is basically completely based off his stream. So yeah. And this is London Silver. Have a good day, night, and wherever the hell you are. Have a good one.